Have you ever found yourself, in that fitness dilemma? Like one expert swears by endless cardio, another one insists it's all about these high-intensity bursts, and you're just left kind of wondering if you should even bother lacing up your shoes. It's almost enough to make you feel like you need a degree just to pick a workout. Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving deep into exactly that confusion. The best mix, really, of aerobic exercise, what most of us just call cardio and high-intensity interval training, HIIT, our mission for this deep dive. To cut through all that noise, look at the latest research, some really interesting stuff, and figure out precisely how to blend these two powerful approaches for maximal health benefits. We're talking boosting your VO2 max, getting stronger muscles, better metabolic health, lower blood pressure, and yeah, even boosting your brain power. We've got this fascinating new research review looked at 18 different studies, focusing specifically on older adults, which gives us a really clear picture.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here is how this review kind of challenges that either thinking lots of us fall into with fitness. For years, it felt like you had to pick a side, right? Is it all about those steady Zone 2 cardio sessions, or should you just be hammering away at HI all the time? Well, the science turns out it has a more nuanced answer, maybe a bit liberating, actually. This review strongly suggests that, look, if your goal is lower blood pressure, a really increased health span, a truly robust body and mind, you shouldn't be picking sides. You pretty much need both.
That's actually refreshing to hear.
Yeah.
That we don't have to just choose one path when both seem to offer so much.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, let's start with HIT, that powerhouse. What exactly did the scientists find when they looked at its impact in this review?
Well, they found some really impressive gains. I mean, for those who consistently put HIT into their routine, we're looking at a significant 15 to 20% increase in VO2 max, and that's within just 6 months.
15 to 20%. Wow.
Yeah, and for anyone maybe not familiar, VO2 max is basically how efficiently your body uses oxygen during exercise. It's a really critical marker for overall fitness and, frankly, healthy longevity.
That's a huge improvement in endurance right there.
Yeah.
But were there other things, like beyond just the oxygen use? Did it affect strength or maybe even, I don't know, things beyond the physical?
Oh, absolutely. Beyond those amazing VO2 max gains, the high-intensity work also boosted muscle strength by about 12%, which is significant. And that directly translates to, a lower risk of falls, which becomes super important as we age. But what really stood out, and I think this surprises a lot of people, was the impact on brain power. HIIT was shown to bump up cognitive function by a pretty remarkable 10 to 15%, especially memory showing benefits. It's like a full body, full brain upgrade.
A full body, full brain upgrade. I like the sound of that. Okay, so HIIT clearly delivers on intensity, physical gains, even cognitive ones. But where does traditional continuous cardio fit in? Does it offer something different, or is it just like less effective?
It offers something uniquely complementary, actually. The research review showed that, maybe HIIT has a slight edge in pure VO2 max numbers, but traditional cardio still improved it significantly. We're talking 10 to 15%. So still a really powerful way to build aerobic capacity. But where cardio really shines, where it offers distinct advantages, is mental well-being. The review found people doing consistent cardio saw a 5 to 10% drop in depressive symptoms. That's measurable. Plus, just better overall mental health. So if we connect this to the bigger picture,
right,
it becomes clear. These different benefits, strength, sharp thinking, mental resilience, they all work together. They synergize, all contributing to that main goal: increased health span and, of course, lower blood pressure. It's not just living longer, it's, living better.
It really is incredible how many different benefits there are. And speaking of uncovering things,
Yeah.
for years, cardio, that just seemed to get a bad rap, didn't it? Like it was the boring option, or maybe just something you did if you couldn't handle the real intensity. What was the issue there, and how do we sort of reclaim cardio?
That's a great point. For a long time, the fitness conversation really did shift, all towards high-intensity stuff. You heard claims it alone could torch fat, give you more afterburn. And the thinking was traditional cardio's benefits just stopped when you stepped off the treadmill. But the real problem wasn't aerobic work itself. It was often how we were doing it.
Oh, yeah. So many people would just say, right, I'm going for a run, and then they just hammer it as hard as they could for as long as they could, often with, let's be honest, terrible form.
Yeah.
They'd end up hurt or just wiped out without really building that aerobic base properly. They weren't getting better at the right kind of exercise.
Precisely. And the fundamental why for doing aerobic work correctly really comes down to understanding your muscle fibers. It sounds a bit technical, but it's key. Imagine you want a muscle fiber for a quick, powerful burst. You don't necessarily need tons of oxygen getting in there easily. Those are your anaerobic fibers, the fast twitch ones, built for short, intense work, use carbs for fuel, they get bigger, but not more oxygen efficient. Cardio, done right, builds your aerobic fibers, your slow twitch muscles. These are the endurance engines. They're incredibly good at letting oxygen flow in and out, using that oxygen to fuel continuous contraction. That's what aerobic means, right, with oxygen. When these fibers get more efficient, your whole aerobic capacity, your VO2 max, improves. So understanding how you're exercising is critical for getting the right results from cardio. It's not just moving, it's moving to build that specific system.
Okay, so if the just go hard approach was often wrong, how intense should cardio be to actually build these aerobic fibers and boost VO2 max? This must be where Zone 2 cardio comes in. You hear that term a lot now, especially from elite athletes.
Exactly. Zone 2 is that easy conversational level of aerobic work. It's meant to be sustainable, something you can do frequently, maybe almost daily, minimal recovery needed. It's fantastic for building that aerobic capacity, that base. It's why elite runners call their easy runs Zone 2, a really simple way to know if you're in it. The talk test, you should be able to rattle off a fairly long sentence, say 15 words or so without needing to gasp for breath. Truly conversational.
Yeah, and I know for a lot of people, especially if you're used to pushing hard all the time, this pace can feel, well, almost too slow. Like, are you even doing anything? But finding that easy intensity can be even simpler than the talk test, right? I've heard it described as just go slow and be smooth and be able to breathe through my nose.
That's a great cue, too. It really emphasizes the metabolic efficiency part, not just burning yourself out.
And the amazing thing is, over just a few weeks of doing these shorter, smooth workouts, you find you can comfortably go for much longer at that same easy Zone 2 pace. You build a really solid foundation. Beyond the talk test or nose breathing, if you use a heart rate monitor, Zone 2 is usually around, what, 60–70% of your max heart rate?
Typically, yes, around that range. The key, especially early on, is consistency over speed. That smoothness and consistency are absolutely fundamental.
Okay, so Zone 2 is about building that sustainable aerobic engine. Now let's pivot back to HIIT, which, for good reason, has absolutely exploded in popularity. It's time efficient. People say it burns more fat even in shorter sessions. And like we talked about, that review highlighted all those longevity benefits, cognition, memory, VO2 max, muscle mass.
Definitely. But the challenge is a lot of what people call HIIT isn't really high intensity. To get those big benefits we discussed, the work parts of HIIT truly need to be performed at or very near your maximum capacity. Many people just work kind of hard, doing sort of medium intensity intervals, which, well, they just don't trigger the same physiological changes or give you the same bang for your buck.
That difference between kind of hard and truly high intensity seems absolutely critical then. So for listeners wanting to really maximize those VO2 max benefits, make sure their HIIT is genuinely effective. What are the specific things? What does powerful HIIT look like based on the research? You mentioned crisp, actionable tips.
Indeed. The biggest VO2 max improvements from HIIT come from intervals designed specifically to push that system. And that usually means intervals that are longer than many people think, done right at or near max effort. So here are the tips for designing a session that really hits that mark. First, choose the right cardio modality. You need something where you can easily hit your max effort and, crucially, repeat it safely. Think running, cycling, rowing machine, maybe one of those stationary bikes with arm levers. Point is, don't pick something super technical or risky when you're going all out.
Makes sense. Safety first when you're pushing limits.
Second, interval duration, 2 to 6 minutes. This is key. You really want to aim for efforts longer than 120 seconds. This length pushes your body into the right metabolic pathways to challenge and improve aerobic capacity. Those really short, 30-second sprints. They feel hard, sure, but they're not optimized for the same VO2 max gains as these longer intervals.
Okay, so longer intervals than maybe commonly thought.
Yeah.
2 minutes plus.
Third, work intensity. At or near VO2 max. This means going as hard as you possibly can sustain for that entire 2 to 6 minute interval. Every single one. It should feel incredibly tough, like you are truly pushing your limits, not just kind of hard. If you can chat, it's not HIIT for VO2 max.
Right. Maximum sustainable effort for the whole interval.
Fourth, and this gets missed a lot, full rest. Stop completely between intervals. Let your heart rate drop way down, below 100 BPM, maybe even below 90. This might take several minutes, maybe even as long as the work interval itself. And that's okay. Don't rush the rest. It's crucial for being able to hit the next interval hard.
So proper recovery between the hard work. Got it.
And finally, number 5, maintain intensity. only repeat as many times as you can hit the same work intensity. When you start interval 2, your speed, your power, your effort, it has to match interval 1. Same for interval 3, 4, however many you do. If you can't maintain that same intensity level, the workout is over. Stop. Because you're just not getting the benefits anymore.
No.
Continuing is counterproductive, leads to junk volume, maybe raises injury risk without the physiological payoff, which really raises the question.
Yeah, but what's the point if you're not getting the benefits anymore?
Exactly. Better to end strong and aim to add maybe one more full intensity interval next time.
That clarity on how to really do HIIT effectively. Wow, that's a game changer. So many people might be putting in effort, but not getting that full reward. So what this research review boils down to, it seems really clear. It's not about picking sides in this fitness debate. It's integration.
Exactly right. It's a synergistic approach, combining that thoughtful, consistent Zone 2 cardio with properly done, truly high-intensity intervals. That's the key. This powerful blend is what leads to those impressive gains across the board: VO2 max, strength, cognition, and those really crucial outcomes like lower blood pressure and increased health span. It's about designing a routine that uses the best of both worlds, understanding why each part matters, and critically, how to do it right.
And it really points towards a more holistic view of health, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You, the listener, now have the knowledge to understand not just what exercises are good, but why they work and how to do them right to get the most out of them. So maybe think about your current routine. Where could you slot in more consistent, correct Zone 2 cardio? And where could you make sure your HI sessions are genuinely high intensity, not just kind of hard?
Yeah.
What stands out to you as maybe the biggest area for improvement based on what we've discussed? Because remember, knowledge is great, but it's most valuable when you understand it and then, actually apply it.
That application is where the magic happens, as you say.
Yeah. A smart blend of Zone 2 cardio and true max effort HI8 really seems to be the absolute key. Unlocking this whole range of significant health benefits: physical strength, less fall risk, sharper mind, better longevity overall. It's not choosing one or the other. It's about combining them strategically to get the most out of all your effort.
So maybe consider this: how prioritizing both that consistency in your Zone 2 work and that true intensity in your HIA sessions, how might that not just add years to your life, but really enrich the quality of those years, making you not just stronger, but sharper and, well, more vibrant in every part of your life?